Yes, hello everyone. Before we begin our practical session, let's take a moment to understand the coffee machine we'll be using and how it operates. We need to understand where the coffee machine's buttons are located and the fundamental principles behind its operation, don't we? Because it will make it much simpler to operate the coffee machine during our practical sessions. So, let's take a closer look, shall we? Firstly, this here is the coffee machine we're going to be utilizing today. Contained within this particular coffee machine is a boiler unit. If you look under the cup here, you'll see the boiler is inside. So, we use the pressure from the hot water heated in the boiler to extract espresso. Within the coffee machine, there's a substantial reservoir that stores up to 12 liters of water. The water is continuously and automatically drawn in, and the boiler heats that water. This continuous process ensures a stable and efficient coffee extraction. Alright, now let's go over the control buttons on the machine. Right here, you'll notice a green button. If you push the power switch upward, it will turn the machine off. See, the coffee machine is now completely off. To turn it back on, simply push it back down. Aside from this specific button, it's very important that you do not manipulate or press any of the other buttons located near it. However, just because you students switch on the power for your practice session, that doesn't mean you can immediately start brewing coffee. That's because you typically need to allow for approximately 30 minutes for the boiler to fully heat up. What do you think will happen if you try to extract coffee without waiting? Since the pressure will be too low, you'll end up getting lukewarm water and the coffee's flavor won't be good. Do you understand? Okay, next up is the pressure gauge on the coffee machine, which many students find tricky. Why does this pressure gauge fluctuate and move up and down whenever it's in operation? I will now demonstrate. First, I'll raise the steam level. Okay, and now I'll press the coffee extraction button. See how the pressure gauge goes up and down? Why do you think that happens? It's because when you press the extraction button or use the steam, hot water and steam are released from the boiler. So, simply put, this gauge lets us visibly see the force the boiler is pushing out. Now, why exactly should we be checking this particular reading? Another question might just pop into your mind, right? This is because through the gauge, we can confirm the coffee machine consistently maintains adequate pressure. If the pressure is excessively low or too high, the extraction process will become unstable, and the taste of the coffee will be entirely different. This is something you must comprehend. There are actually two different types of pressure gauges. The first one is the steam pressure gauge. You see it here, pointing around 11 or 12 o'clock, don't you? This is the steam pressure. Now, this pressure is considered to be normal when it falls within the range of 1.2 to 1.5 bar. If it falls outside this range, the steam becomes either too weak or too strong, making it challenging to froth milk. Shall I go ahead and turn it on? The steam pressure gauge fluctuates between 1.2 and 1.5, indicating this coffee machine is operating normally. Alright, the second gauge we're going to examine now is the extraction gauge. The most optimal and stable espresso extraction is typically achieved when the pressure is maintained between 9 and 11 bar. If this reading is low, it will be bland. If high, the bitter taste becomes more pronounced. So, it's very important to make it a habit to check the pressure gauge as you press the button. I'll give it a try now. Whenever you're extracting coffee, you always need to frequently check and monitor the gauge. And now, let's learn about the extraction buttons. The coffee machine has various extraction buttons, such as the hot water button, and then there's also the single shot. Double. There are also buttons for continuous extraction, lungo, and double lungo. Every single extraction button has a unique meaning associated with it. Allow me to provide you with an illustrative example to clarify. First is the hot water button. This is the button that dispenses hot water. So, when exactly do we put this into use? We frequently utilize it, either for preparing a hot Americano or for pre-warming cups in preparation for a practical assessment. For example, you take a cup and place it under the hot water dispenser. Then you simply press the hot water button. And once you've dispensed a sufficient amount, you'll need to manually press the button again to halt the flow. Following that, we have the single shot button. This is the single shot button. The single shot button is an espresso extraction button, and it extracts about 15 to 18 milliliters. I'm going to try pressing it now. Okay, it's done. Now, next is the double shot button. This is an espresso extraction button, and it extracts approximately 35 to 40 milliliters. Alright, the extraction is complete, isn't it? Now, regarding this button in the middle, it might seem a bit confusing to some of you, but it's actually the continuous button. You can think of it as a button that lets you extract as much as you want manually. Regarding this button, once the extraction process is finished, you must manually press it once more to discontinue the operation. You see, I'm continuously pressing the button and the water just keeps flowing out, so you simply press it one more time to make it stop. This is the continuous extraction button, and the button you see on the right is the lungo button. The lungo button is designed for when you desire to extract a slightly larger amount than a double shot, specifically around 60 milliliters. That took a bit long, right? The next button to its side is the double lungo button. The last one we'll examine. This is for when you want to extract a bit more than a lungo. So, when is this button frequently used? I use this particular button quite frequently when I feel like having black coffee. Let's give it a press. Alright, so in this segment, we've just learned about the various buttons available on the coffee machine. For our practice sessions, we will only be using the double shot button as seen here. It's crucial that you keep this in mind. Alright, let me reiterate this once more. For our practice, we are only going to use the double shot button. Alright, let's take a look at how the crema looks when extracting a double shot of espresso. Crema, you see, is essentially the brownish layer of foam that forms on top of a freshly pulled espresso. So, when you do a double shot extraction, hot water from the boiler goes through the coffee grounds with significant pressure. When the hot water passes through the coffee grounds, a pressure of about 9 bars is applied. This pressure then forces the gases and oils out of the coffee beans. So, the air bubbles and oil created in this process mix together to form the crema. A double shot containing more coffee grounds releases more gas and oil, resulting in a thicker and more stable crema. If the crema is thin, or there's not much of it, it means the coffee beans are old, or the extraction was done incorrectly. On the other hand, too much crema makes the coffee taste more bitter. Let me show you the crema. Okay, we're doing an extraction now. Right now, this coffee is undergoing a process where the gas and oils within the coffee beans are being extracted due to the high pressure. So, if you observe closely, there's a really dark crema here. See, this brown foamy layer is the crema. Let's try. Scoop it. Underneath the crema, you'll find the espresso concentrate. Do you see that? That's what we refer to as crema. In this instance, the crema is perfectly stable, neither excessively thick nor overly thin, which means it's an ideal coffee for immediate consumption.
I'll make sure to drink this later.
For this session, we'll delve into the grinder and the portafilter. Let's start with the grinder first. A grinder is essentially a machine that takes coffee beans and pulverizes them into a powdered form. Yes, precisely. The speed at which water flows through is determined by the fineness of the grinder's setting. If the grind is too coarse, water passes through quickly, resulting in a weak flavor. Conversely, if the grind is too fine, the water can't pass through, making the coffee taste intensely bitter. This ultimately changes the coffee's flavor. The grind particle size for the grinder that we'll be using for our practice session has already been adjusted. What you see here, this round-shaped thing, is called the grind adjustment dial. Please do not randomly touch the adjustment dial. The grind adjustment dial you'll be using for practice will most likely be marked right here in the very middle. So please do not tamper with it yourself. And next, the container that is used to hold the coffee beans is called a hopper. When you are running low on coffee beans, there is a lid located on top of the hopper. Simply open the lid, then put in the coffee beans, and after that, close the lid again, and it's ready to be used. When our practice session is over, all the beans inside must be completely emptied out, because it's vital for it to be kept in a consistently clean and well-maintained state. For the grinder you'll be using, you only need to use this double shot button. Now please focus the camera here just for a moment.
This is the single shot button, continuous extraction, and this is the double shot button.
For your use, all you have to do is simply press the double shot button. This grinder is automatically set up to then. The settings are already configured to dispense exactly 20 grams, so you simply need to press the double shot button. Next up, we have the portafilter. You can consider it a metal basket equipped with a handle specifically designed to hold the coffee grounds. So, this portafilter. This is a really important component that handles the pressure during coffee machine extraction. That's why it's crafted from metal, and it's also remarkably sturdy and quite heavy, more so than you might expect. This is quite heavy, possibly even heavier than you might expect. Therefore, you should handle it with care to avoid putting any strain on your wrist while you're using it. Also, when brewing coffee, to properly attach this portafilter, you should insert it at the 7 o'clock position and twist it clockwise to the 6 o'clock position. Let me demonstrate that for you now. You insert it starting at the 7 o'clock position, then you'll rotate it to the 6 o'clock position. Again. 7 o'clock position. Next, turn it to the 6 o'clock position. Please pull this toward you. This way, when the button is pressed, the securely fastened component creates a strong bond, ensuring it receives adequate pressure for the coffee machine to extract properly. So, if the portafilter isn't properly secured, water could leak during the extraction process, or it might even explode due to the pressure, so you need to be very cautious. Alright, the next things we're going to learn about are the knockbox and tamping. When you finish grinding the coffee beans into the portafilter, it's essential that you tamp them down firmly using this tamping tool. When you do this, rather than pushing with your wrist strength, you should instead use the power of your shoulder and body weight to press down gently, applying about 10 kilograms of force. When you're tamping, your elbow should point towards the ceiling. Alright, let me show you. Okay, I said this portafilter is the basket that holds the ground beans, right? Let's fill it up. Okay, the coffee beans are now loaded. Next, you simply pick it up and bring it here. Bring it over, and as I mentioned earlier, you shouldn't press with the strength of your wrist. Instead, your elbow should be pointing towards the ceiling as you press down. So, gently press it down like this. Do you see that? If you apply excessive pressure, the coffee grounds will become overly compressed, preventing water from flowing through them properly during the extraction process, which results in poor coffee output. You must pay close attention to this. Therefore, only apply light pressure. The next thing we'll learn about is the knockbox. After you've done an extraction, there are coffee grounds left over, which we call a puck. So, to get this puck out of there, you just flip the portafilter upside down over the knockbox, give it a tap, and it'll fall right out. You also need to be very careful with this and make sure you don't throw it out just anywhere. You simply need to tap it on the rubber pads you see in the middle. This is the correct way to utilize it. Next, we will explore the steam function in more detail. The process of heating milk is commonly referred to as steaming. In order to perform steaming, you will utilize these two steam levers, which are conveniently located on both ends of the coffee machine. When you lift the steam lever, hot steam generated within the boiler is released and sprays out through the nozzle. You have to be really careful at this point because extremely hot steam comes out. And most importantly, never touch the steam wand with your bare hands. When the machine is in operation, high temperature steam is produced. So if you touch the steam lever and lift it with your bare hands, you could get burned. So you should always get in the habit of wrapping it with a damp cloth before grabbing it. Sometimes I notice students doing this. It's absolutely forbidden. Let me demonstrate by turning it on. See? It comes out with truly strong pressure. So you must always wrap it with this damp cloth first. Then you need to observe carefully. Wrap it and hold it firmly like this, the cloth, and then pull this down now. Make sure to grab the steam wand and then go ahead and lift the lever. There, that's how you use it. Before you begin steaming, there's a very important step you need to complete. This is called purging. Instead of immediately placing the steam wand into the milk after activating the steam, you must first purge it briefly. This removes any lingering residue or old milk particles from inside the nozzle, ensuring optimal results. If you don't do this, the hot water that initially comes out can mix into the milk, making it difficult to froth properly or altering its taste. So then, how much milk should you actually add in order to get that perfect consistency? You only need to pour the milk until it reaches the very bottom of the spout on the steam pitcher. That will fill it up to approximately 200 milliliters. All right, let's go ahead and pour in the milk now. Just fill to the bottom of the spout, as you see here. So, it's filled right to the bottom of the spout, right? This is approximately 200 milliliters. Alright, let's start the steaming process now. Our particular coffee machine has a much stronger steam pressure compared to standard machines, so you only need to introduce air for a single second. This is because if you inject air for an unnecessarily long time, excessive foam can form or the texture may become rough. After that, your main focus should be on increasing the temperature to ensure the milk is heated uniformly. You should place the steam wand at a slight angle on the surface of the milk. Before you put it in, it's absolutely crucial to purge it. As I previously demonstrated, I'll first wrap it with a cloth, then pull this lever down, and then proceed with the pre-purge. Alright, now all the residue and milk remnants inside the nozzle have been removed. When you're steaming, the position should be... It's the 5 o'clock position. We call this the steam wand, so it's the 5 o'clock position relative to the steam wand. See, this would be 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. You'll want to aim it towards the 5 o'clock position, but don't submerge it completely. Instead, simply rest it right at the point where the steam emerges. Then, you simply need to raise the lever. When you raise the lever, you can pull or lift it in any direction. It truly doesn't matter which way you move it. When you pull the lever, you can lift it up, push it down, or even move it diagonally to the left or right. It truly doesn't matter how you do it. The pressure will remain constant, so you can perform this step in whichever manner you find most comfortable. Now, while the milk is heating, you absolutely must hold the pitcher with your palm to check the temperature. The feeling you're looking for is that, ouch, that's hot, sensation. The ideal point is achieved when your palm instantly feels the heat coming from the pitcher. After you're finished steaming, you absolutely must wrap the steam wand with a wet cloth and then clear out any remaining milk residue or any other leftover debris that might be inside. Alright, I'll give it a try now. I'll position the wand between the 5 and 6 o'clock mark. And I'm going to inject air for 1 second here. I injected air for 1 second, then raised the steam pitcher. Now I'm checking the temperature with my palm. Okay, when checked. Just about halfway is enough. Then, with a damp cloth, you will want to wrap it around the steam wand. Now, how do we handle the steam wand? Point it downwards and purge it by releasing the steam. It is essential that you carefully wipe it clean and maintain its pristine condition to ensure proper hygiene. Bring it. Alright, with that, the steaming is all done. Right now, when you're steaming, you can definitely notice quite a bit of foam. In order to get rid of these bubbles and make the surface of the foam a bit smoother and more even, you can firmly hold the pitcher in your palm and gently tap, tap, tap it on the counter. Give it a tap, see? The bubbles are gone. Again, just tap, 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 tap it like that. Then give it a swirl to mix it well. And just like that, the steam is done. Next, I'm going to show you how to use the ice machine, but you absolutely must use only this specialized scoop for it, okay? Only this dedicated scoop. This also needs to be scooped using a utensil that's made of either plastic or stainless steel. You must absolutely never ever use a mug or a glass cup for scooping. Do you understand? Next, I'm going to explain a little about the basic cleaning process. Before you begin, the very first and most crucial thing is that if you look here, there's a partition inside the hopper. This partition, specifically. Now, if you close the partition, the coffee beans will remain stored here once ground, preventing them from falling down. And you must empty all the coffee beans from this compartment. To do this, simply lift out the knockbox. Place it against the part where the beans come out and see the middle button. The middle button. Press and hold it. Now, what did I say the middle button was for? It's for continuous extraction. So, press and hold it. Make sure to keep pressing it down until all the coffee beans inside are fully extracted. Yes, continue grinding until you hear the motor running idle. Then, because there's still some residue inside, you'll need to use a brush like this to meticulously sweep it all out. Okay, so if you look in the knockbox, you'll see the coffee grounds. I told you these are called pucks. Go ahead and throw these pucks in the trash. Okay, throw it out. Since we're rinsing it, leave it in the sink. And now, we have these two portafilters, don't we? We'll also rinse both of these out thoroughly. Okay, we're going to rinse both of them, but one of them will be kept here because it is necessary for us to clean the coffee machine. While cleaning, the coffee machine is still heated, so it will be extremely hot if you make contact with it. So, it's essential that you wear rubber gloves and then proceed with the work. Okay, this thing that you see here is known as a blind portafilter. You flip it over, hold it like this, and if you look in between these, there's a groove, correct? You just engage it right into the groove. Once it's securely attached, you simply pop it off, much like opening a can lid. You'll see it comes off quite easily and well. And then, simply take this blind portafilter and insert it firmly into its designated spot. Next, we have a machine cleaning agent. Half a spoon of cleaner. And when you insert the portafilter again, go from the 7 o'clock to the 6 o'clock position. And to clean it, press the continuous extraction button and the single shot button at the same time. Continuous. Press this, press that, just like that. Click, click. The machine automatically rinses itself a total of 5 times, and it keeps continuing the process. So, at times like these, what should you do? You need to thoroughly wash all the rags you've used, as well as any items taken from the knockbox, spread them out neatly, and allow them to air dry completely. Do you understand? And all these filters and other tools are also to be placed in here. Alright, the coffee machine's cleaning cycle has been completed, and with that, I have a question for you. How do you clean this steam wand? So, earlier we used the steam pitcher when we steamed the milk. Now, fill the pitcher with water. You fill it up with water, and then you press the cleaning agent button just one time. And do it just like you practice steaming. Go ahead and steam it. Then, pour it directly into the sink. After that, you'll need to take this damp cloth and carefully wrap it around the steam wand once more. Give it a good wipe. After wiping, the final step is always to purge it to remove any leftover residue. Next, we're going to wash the portafilter that we put the cleaning agent in earlier. Alright, now, there's absolutely nothing on top of the coffee machine. However, if you examine it closely, you'll notice a groove. The coffee machine has a groove or a recess, and that is what we refer to as the drip tray. This also needs to be removed and thoroughly rinsed with water. And with a damp cloth, wipe around the coffee machine just like before. After that, you'll want to thoroughly wash all of the coffee equipment that is currently in the sink. Alright, once you've thoroughly rinsed both portafilters, you can simply place them upside down on top of the coffee machine. Finally, make sure to turn off the coffee machine's power, and with that, your cleaning is now all complete.